I know. We had it all along, right? A little nervousness at the end for Mr. Moohead as the Browns win 28-16 and basically backed into a win. I'm not real comfortable with it. I'm thrilled that it happened. I love you, Cleveland. But I don't know. I kind of feel like could have been a little easier. You know, when you have the past that a cow has, 15 years of this, 15 fucking years of doing this show, but beyond that, so many more years of following the team, all the disappointments in the last God knows how many years since the Browns left and went to Ratville. I've seen them lose so many ways. I'm sitting there in the back of my mind like I know thousands and thousands of other Browns fans are saying, you realize they're going to get the touchdown here. They're going to kick an onside kick. Amos the Anus's guys are going to fumble the onside kick. They're going to go in for the winning touchdown. We've seen it so many times. And it's like, wow, I'm like really thrilled that they won the football game. But I'm not really thrilled with the way they decided to finish it off. I say, you know something? You got a great young quarterback. There is no reason with 4 and change left on the clock. 1 first down fucks them. They're done. And there's nothing wrong on first down throwing a safe pass to a Duke Johnson or to a Nick Chubb to see if he can break a tackle and get that elusive first down. But when you run 2 dive plays and then, then your quarterback runs sideways, you're like, oh my God, we're choking. We're not even trying to get that final first down. And that's something that you need to do to fit. It's very hard to back into wins in this league. Very hard to do. And, you got to, and there's going to be many more opportunities for Baker Mayfield when he's going to have the opportunity to end games sooner. And I understand that Greg Williams is a defensive coordinator, and he in the end was probably making the calls on what to do. But that's why we don't need a defensive coordinator as a head coach of the Cleveland Browns. That's the reason why you have the guys that you have, and that's the reason you groom a young quarterback. I think that I would have felt much more comfortable. Again, it was just like the Cavaliers yesterday. People are complaining about Colin Sexton getting the final shot and missing it. Kyrie Irving missed his first game winner too, and they talked a little bit about that. These guys got to learn. If this is what you're going with, then go with it, baby. Let him finish what he started. And, that's kind of how I look at it. I see our panel, our illustrious panel. News team assemble. Okay. I just felt like
nay.
Yeah. Great. All right. We got Rick, who's now 67 plus.
2-yard run. I have to wait to see the fucking highlights. How sweet was that 92-yard run?
Oh my God. It was awesome. I mean, I wanted to sing a song. Rick has found the other side of the mountain. 67 plus, man.
Now, you know what this was the best feeling, Mr. Moohead, right now? Was back when
Happy birthday, Rick.
Remember when Jay Colon won a game for the Browns and he said ain't nothing better than winning the NFL.
Yeah, well, I mean, and for us, they've been few and far between. And I know. I wanted to warn you, Rick, though, that at 67 is a line of demarcation. I'm 61, so I haven't gotten there yet. But I have several friends who, the day after their 67th birthday, lost their ability to achieve erection. So I don't mean to ruin your birthday or anything like that. I mean, I'm
got a Browns.
But
no problem.
Okay.
Growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional.
Yeah, so
that's right, Rick.
It's great to see people in the chat room, and we're all here to celebrate this time. And, I want to shout out to the people in the chat room. Jay Morgan, thank you, Chubb. You just gave me over 30 points in fantasy. You selfish prick. What are you? What are you? Who cares about you? I will say what Mr. Rourke said to Tattoo. Who cares about your fantasy? This is all about the people in the plane. It's like, Tattoo, quit playing with yourself. Fuck your fantasy, It's like, thank you, Chubb, for being a Cleveland Brown and having the longest run from scrimmage in the history of the organization.
How long was this run?
A 92
yards.
92, yep. And it was
2 yards.
And I have a story to tell about that 92-yard run because Brian is waiting for highlights because it wasn't TV'd in his part of the world. And until Trump gets the economy going better, maybe if we had a Democrat in the White House, you could have direct TV. Okay, I'll stop. We're here to celebrate a Browns win. On that run, it reminded me of Run William Run in one regard. Not in the run itself, because the Run William Run was not 92 yards. But it was something that was said about William Green when the Browns drafted him. He came out of Boston College, and he had a less than stellar, shall we say, combine 40-yard dash. Nick Chubb ran a 4.52, which basically makes him a linebacker. Okay? And it hurt his draft position. They asked the same thing about William Green. And when they went to the Boston College coach and they said, do you find that his speed is a problem? His coach said, I've never seen William caught from behind. All right. And that stayed with me because the 4.52 guy was nowhere to be seen on that 92-yard run. He made his move, and then he kicked it into a gear and ran away from everybody. I mean, and I turned to my wife, and I said, nobody.
You're giving me a hand job tonight, honey.
Well, why would I settle for that? That's if we lose. Come on. Oh, the pleasure is all hers. Please.
I can't believe the Bills are killing the Jets like 40-something to 10. Can you guys believe that?
I believe most anything in the NFL. It's like nobody caught him from behind. That 4.52 is not with people chasing him. It's like I run like an 8.6 or a 10.7. But if there's a wild tiger behind me, I probably will end up with a better time. And, he just ran away. That was awesome. That's right, missing Phil Dawson. The accent is on the second syllable, Moohead. Thank you. I do appreciate it, and she will too. We have a bunch of comments in the chat room, and I mean, this is about you guys because we're all happy, I told you all at halftime, have faith. Matt Ryan is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had until that final play had an 114 rating, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, the tight end had 10 fucking catches. Oh, by the way.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you that one they got in on fourth down. If a guy throws the Zeppelin like that and the guy catches it outside of the end zone, there's no way that he should be able coming back for the ball to be able to get into the end zone. That's again on Jabril Peppers because he didn't wrap up. But I'm not going to sit here and bitch about it too much. Erlanger said, I watched the game, but did that actually happen? The answer is no. This is like Star Trek Generations. This is like the Vortex. And no, it didn't actually really happen. We're all swept into this vortex together, and we're living the alternate Captain Kirk fantasy where he's riding horses and he's married.
Well, if that were true, then we would be seeing John Elway have 2 broken legs and a broken right arm in 3 places.
That hasn't happened yet. It's the whole thing. We have to wait until Whoopi Goldberg shows up in the vortex, okay? And then all that other shit will happen. God, if that happens in my vortex, I'm shutting
And you
it
thought
down.
Mary Kay cabbage smelled bad.
No,
Oi!
wait a minute, Rick. Here we go. Are we ready? Whoopi Goldberg in my vortex. God, that's like, make that stop right away.
That'd be around near everybody's vortex.
Look at lost in the butt cheek.
Oh, God. So damn proud of these guys today. Mark Jones is happy. Cindy Sanders says, go Browns. So happy for everybody. Yes, we're all, gosh, I mean, we're actually sassified.
And he wants to know what did Jarvis do in this game?
What did who?
Two catches on 5 targets for 22 yards.
Yeah, Cindy said I missed the first half. Did Landry do anything in the game? He did. He took the final kickoff and slid to the ground. I saw him do that, and he did catch a pass or two. Yeah, but it wasn't about him. It was it was just that the middle of the field was open.
Alone. So
yeah.
Oh my God, we had an Orson Charles sighting.
yeah.
Holy shit. Everybody got into the act.
You know, I thought that it was Ray Charles through the first, 9 weeks of the season because, anything they threw at him hit him. And he didn't see it coming.
No, it's the guy from Mork and Mindy.
Oh, okay. Well, for a moment, Charles was in charge. If we're going to take these stupid pop culture references, we'll go that direction with it. Can Ken make it? I guess 28.
No wine before it's time.
Now, Ken can make it. Says, I guess 28 was enough. I'm surprised too. And I said at halftime it's going to take more than 28, and I really felt that way. But we backed into this. I mean, they could have put more points on the board, and I could have seen a circumstance that we allowed them back into the game. But fortunately, they really ran a peculiar fourth down play at the goal line. And, when you're down there and you fail a couple times, you go back and you do a full depth pass as far as a full drop back pass. That's, and then he throws it over the middle of the tight end and Schobert is there to break it up. Usually in that situation, I was shocked because they ran a play in the first half that other teams have been running against us where it's just a stop, where a guy like Julio Jones takes one step forward, one step back. They throw the ball right out to him, and there are a couple of guys, and all that. It's like a quarterback sneak with a wide receiver. I was really surprised they didn't run that play, but they were having all kinds of grief in the red zone against a zone defense. Who would have thunk it? And Matt Ryan on the last play of the game, so that, my take on the last play of the game, the pivotal play, was that he went back to pass. He had all the time in the world, but something was creeping up behind him, and he exhibited all the signs of a heterosexual man at 2:00 in the morning on the streets of San Francisco. And he had to turn to look at slightly. I don't know if you watched that play again. He kind of checked behind him. The second you check behind you, you take your eyes off the field, downfield. And what we saw when we saw the full panorama of the play develop was that Ridley had actually beaten his man deep, and there were two receivers who could have received that pass, but it was too late. And I tenths of a second make such a huge difference. And believe me, Matt Ryan is every bit of his 6.7 40-yard dash. He's not, with that knee brace on, he isn't going to run very well. Joe Fox is saying team should have fired Hugh last year. This is a pretty good team. Well, it certainly looks better since he's gone. Wable says total domination except for the last, so many minutes of the game, and I would like to see them close stronger. Missing Phil Dawson, so much potential in this team. I like how the offense bounced back from that early turnover on the trick play. Yeah, that was just a bad call. But and the thing that's interesting is through that big first half, the strange part of it is that Baker Mayfield really didn't throw for very much yardage in the second half at all. That big run by Chubb is really the big difference in the game. So, that's hi, Bronk. How you doing?
Whoa. Can I point out something? That Baker Mayfield has a passer rating today. That's a Bacardi. He's got a 151 passer rating today.
Baker Mayfield does?
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield,
no mistakes.
151.
An
Bacardi
absolute clean game.
He
Absolute
had as
clean
many
game.
touchdowns as incomplete passes. 3.
Yeah,
That's out of a maximum of 158.3, Stephen.
What was his yards for the game?
210, 212,
216, it says here.
Yeah.
15. 3 touchdowns, only 3 incompletions.
Yeah, I mean, just an efficient game. They talk about a clean game. He played a clean game, and he got us a lot of points on the board. In 14 in the first half through his passing, and he was perfect in the first half. And it was that big running play, man, that really, when you go from a 21-10 to a 28-10, that's a big, big thing. Especially
God. It's happened to us so many times.
And when you're trapped on your own 8-yard line, and the first down play is kind of a miss, and then you hand the ball off, the guy streaks 92 yards. That really is the other huge play and it's the biggest play of the game. And it's something that Carlos Hyde could never have done. So no Ohio State apologists, please.
Can I invoke the black cow of death? I know
sure, most certainly. Okay. I mean, he's in a rather good mood based on everything.
I thought he'd be in a good mood today. Black cow of death. There he is. Let him stare into his eyes.
All right. Don't stare directly at him, folks. It's like the eclipse.
Black cow of death. I want the black cow of death to take out anybody who still thinks the Browns should have drafted Sam Darnold.
Oh,
they don't deserve to live anymore.
Well, he's hurt.
Take him out.
He didn't get benched. He was hurt.
He got hurt.
Yeah. I mean, so if you notice that, that McCown was playing, that's why.
Juke?
Should we each his McCown?
I mean, it's like 50 McCowns up in Scotland. You can't tell them all apart,
Yeah, if Josh McCown gets hurt, he could put in Luke McCown.
That's right. or Patrick McGowan.
Or Rose McGowan.
Yeah. Rose McGowan.
Here's my jersey and my helmet. It should fit.
Here you go, Brian, for you. I come up with a quick-witted one for you. Hey, Rose, the Browns suck. Me too. Okay. There you go.
So what happened today? Did the Browns and the Falcons switch jerseys before the game started?
Did what?
Did the Browns and the Falcons switch jerseys before the game? Because this is exactly the sort of game I thought. It's just the Falcons were going to do it.
Well, we all got it wrong, didn't we? And
I'm very happy to be wrong.
Don't you cry, saying the first time I'm excited to listen to this stream. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm here every week, and I think I make it pretty damn good. But I have a better stream, and that's when I'm urinating. What I'll make sure is I do a live broadcast while I'm urinating, and you can be excited to listen to that stream. Okay, no, I'm just joking.
Or I'll record myself pissing on a rock, and then you can listen to a horse pissing on a rock.
Yeah, Thomas Estep is saying, love the trick plays today, especially other than the one mistake. Falcons so we do not know what the hell is going on. Great day indeed. Nice to go into the bye week this way. And I agree that it is good timing for that, without a question. Let's see. That's one thing I hate about this chat is sometimes when I scroll down, it moves so damn fast.
Well, you can't scroll back up to get at anything. So if you miss seeing your link, then you never see it.
Yeah. Greg Williams has matched Hugh Jackson's 2016 and 2017 win total in 2 games. Thank you.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Some quick math. Oh, Tony the Calf. Congratulations, Cleveland. So happy for you guys. And you know something? We're also very happy for your Timberwolves because, oh, God, sorry. I'm drunk with power. I am totally drunk with power. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But they did have an addition by subtraction, so you know they did get rid of their cancer.
Now here's my. I got an impression. It's Drew Brennan, premature ejaculation. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, that's my impression. Thank you.
Does that 92-yard run, does that kind of give like a Rudy feel to it, like the movie Rudy, where he finally gets in the game at the very end and makes that sack on that quarterback and everyone lifts him and carries him off the field?
No, because that never happened.
No, it actually did happen.
I hate that fucking movie more than anything in the world. And Rudy ended up an insurance salesman. It's disgusting.
Speaking of sacks, who got the 19-yarder on Matt Ryan at the end of the game?
All I know is that Zettel got the one on the 2-point conversion and his knee collapsed celebrating coming off the field. That's so Browns. I mean, he Garo Yepremian. Who was it? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Yepremian. Who was the guy? Yeah, the guy who does the flip and he just, dumbass. Yeah.
Zendejas did that after a field goal for the Cardinals. Running down the sideline, jumping in the air, and then he tears up his fucking knee.
Scrunch.
On his kicking leg.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I remember that. That was as good as the headbutt of the goalpost that knocked him into a concussion, the one guy. I forget which quarterback did that. He was so psyched up he headbutted the goalpost and they had to carry him off the field. Yeah.
Okay,
that might have been Jim McMahon. That sounds like a Jim McMahon thing to do.
Yeah.
Because he gave himself a concussion the one time when he headbutted Jimbo Covert, his offensive guard.
Oh, God.
I got
during
a
the
weird stat for
pregame.
you guys.
What is it, Bronk?
Weird stat for you guys. Without looking, guess who had the most receiving yards for the Browns?
Without looking, the most receiving yards for the Browns, Rashad Perryman.
It was actually Antonio Callaway, 2 catches for 39 yards.
It was balanced, boy. It was balanced. A lot more balanced than Fox News.
Perryman had 33 yards.
Well, there you go.
I almost had it. Jay Morgan, how many times will it take to make people see that Matt Ryan is an average quarterback?
Oh,
look, I mean, to tell you the truth, the zone really confused them, and they weren't getting they were throwing the ball to the middle of the field, but, and I wanted to point out the bend but not break, which is what the Browns were playing because they weren't running any kind of a pass rush at Ryan. The bend but not break really works a whole hell of a lot better when you score 28 points. And, this is the difference between Greg Williams' defense and, and as a head coach versus what it was before when we had Todd, the retard Haley, calling plays. I mean, obviously the plays were left on the page when Todd was here. That's what's apparent because these are the same plays, folks, in case you were, confused.
Hey, I think the guy that got that 19-yarder was Chris Smith.
With his belly flopping around, with his gut flopping around. That was him, 91.
He's the only one that's got a sack listed on his own. So
yep, that was him. Yeah, wonderful. Good for him. He needs to lose weight. He was number 50. They gave him Ambrose's number.
For you old timers.
I don't know who 91 is, but God, it was gross watching him jump up and down. It was like watching Wiley. It was not a good not a good thing.
Or Finch from Wildcats.
Yeah. Stephen Loy is saying, I hope Mayfield and Chubb both stay healthy. They've built a decent defense, and looking like the O-line can block a little, might see Cleveland in the playoffs in a year or two. Maybe. Robinson wasn't perfectly clean this week, but he was certainly better than Desmond Harrison has been. And Mayfield had time to throw the football, and that's important. Also, Zeitler had a big block on the 92-yard
Oh,
run.
he did. Oh, he
opened up that hole. And I'll tell you, that's all Chubb needs. I mean, and it makes a huge difference when he hits that hole. And once he gets through that first wave, it's like he's good for 10 yards. All those, that 10-yard average that he had earlier in the year, I don't think that's luck. I mean, when you give him a hole and he hits it, he always gets extra yardage after the first hit, and he gets into that second wave real quick. If they would have
Mike and I tried to tell you in the preseason that Chubb was going to be pretty damn good.
Well, I don't think anybody thought that he was going to be this good. And, I asked my wife, during the game, I said, you got Saquon Barkley, who's widely accepted as the best rookie running back in the league. But it will really be worth keeping an eye on these two young men and how their careers develop.
Well, it all depends on where they don't get hurt, really.
Well, but that's what I'm asking about Barkley. Barkley has more of a Gale Sayers-esque methodology of running.
Oh, and you cursed him now.
Well, wow. Wait a minute. Well, there we go.
The PCOD, man. PCOD got Gale Sayers big time.
Enjoy your 5-year career.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with guys who really have that big cutback thing going and the sharp cuts. And that is part of the equation with a guy like Barkley. But a guy like Chubb is always running north-south. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Especially when you're playing on turf. Although all that, he's like, what, 220 pounds? That's a lot of torsion on those knees.
Yeah, and I really do believe that that Chubb is a north-south runner, and he's got the hop step, man. He's got the ability to make the first guy miss, and then he heads straight up the field, and that's really kind of where he gets that a lot of positive yardage because he's like a real irresistible force running forward. He's hard to stop. Jeff and Bama, do you think Robinson is making a big difference? Obviously, because Baker's not on his back, Cindy is saying all the penalties in the fourth scared me. I started to worry. Yeah, I mean, we got nervous at the goal line, didn't we, on the 1-inch yard line, and we started jumping like cats on a hot tin roof. And that's all part of the culture of just not being confident in closing out games and not knowing how to win. And that is a problem for any team in the situation the Browns are in. And it's the reason why they went so conservative and only handed the ball off and wouldn't let Baker throw the ball at the end of the game to get that needed first down that would have ended the game sooner. And I think in the long run, that hurts a team's confidence. It doesn't help. But
Atlanta got 0 sacks in this game.
Wow.
Zero sacks. Can you believe that?
Stephen Loy says, how a guy as big as Chubb can move that fast is beyond me. With him, what I saw on that run, and I want everybody, when you get an opportunity to watch that play, if you didn't get to see it live, I've got the game, of course, recorded. It's interesting when he got through the first wave, he made a move to the right, and then he had to cut back to the middle of the field. In that instant, he kicked in an extra gear that, quite honestly, nobody that I know knew he had. That was really quite I mean, and he was fast. By the way, we have 100 concurrent viewers right now, which is awesome.
He blew by Callaway on the play. He outran Callaway.
Right by, he wasn't even there.
Yeah,
Callaway. Head this way, and off he went.
Yeah, and we saw that earlier in the year when he took it to the house. He has a burst, but he can change gears within a run, and he almost has something that is really unusual for a guy who's 230 pounds, and that is, we talk about 0 to 60 in a car. But what we're really talking about is 40 to 60 plus in a car. You're pulling out onto an interstate and cars are coming in fast behind you. You bang the gas. How fast does your car go from 40 to 70 is more important than it goes from 0 to 60 because you're never stopping. And
you're never in that situation.
That's correct.
Drag racing.
You're right. And that is what Chubb has is he's running down the field and all of a sudden it's like an afterburner. And that is it's impressive to say the least. And
warp speed. All right.
Yeah. After the big league, Baker got conservative. Baker didn't get conservative.
No,
he was doing what he
his
was
fault.
told. He was doing what he was told. Yeah, I agree with the fact that they slowed it down after that run. Screw Darnold from Robo Dude 2829.
Yeah.
Hey, leave his forehead alone. You know, that's one thing. You know what his mother used to say all the time when he got sick? Honey, bring a cold compress. Yeah, okay. That's going to be the future Sam Darnold reference. Everything is going to be, you know, it's like
related.
Yeah, that's right. The biggest incentive in his contract was advertising space on his forehead. You know,
yeah. He'd be great in NASCAR. Imagine the helmet he'd have. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I said I wonder if they're going to tell Darnold, move it, football head. You know, when he tries to get back in the game.
Now, listen to this. I thought, oh, damn it, it jumped on me again. But somebody was saying that run, the 92-yard run, was with 8 men in the box. Okay.
Wow. That's more than Jenna Jameson.
Yeah. I mean, that's so that probably had a reason why once he got through that wave, he just ran away. I remember a run by Mike Pruitt against the Oakland Raiders on a flat-out blitz at the end of a game where they just sold out completely, and the Browns busted it straight up the middle, and Pruitt ran the ball like 70-odd yards and never cut once. It's the only run I've ever seen a guy run 70 yards without even making a cut. This was different. Boy, that acceleration was breathtaking. That got hit. It was like a slingshot. It was like a retro charger. It was really that was impressive as hell.
Or Kevin Mack's 65-yard touchdown run, his only big run of that one season. I want to say that was the 90 season when they lost to the Broncos again with when Bernie had his hand all fucked up in a sling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they're saying the pass interference call against Gaines was bullshit, or Carey. I'm sorry, it was Carey, wasn't it?
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, bad. Not a good call.
Gaines is on IR for the rest of the season because of that
concussion protocol. Yeah, he had 2 of them in 3 weeks.
And now missing Phil Dawson. The rest of his comment was prior to week 10, Chubb averages 5.6 yards per carry versus 8+ defenders in the box. And that's his ability. If you give him that little opening, he can just skate right through it. My thoughts on the secondary, Alistair Erskine, I think that it was all about hiding and disguising this week. And it was impressive from the standpoint that the young guys in our secondary were able to pull it off. The Brian Body Calhouns, the Denzel Wards, that they were able to disguise things well enough in their zones to make life at least a little bit more difficult for Matt Ryan. And, it's like playing the zone defense in the NBA. If the team goes cold, you look like a hero. And you can catch somebody kind of by surprise. The Browns' MO is to be a press coverage team, and I think that they caught the Falcons napping in game prep, and I think that they were confused. And the fact that they didn't even try a bomb in that entire game, when you have Julio Jones and Sanu and all of the guys they have in Ridley, and you don't try to stretch the field once.
Yeah, I know.
Very, very interesting.
They just seem to have a lot of energy too. They just,
Well, I think Atlanta was flat. How the Browns usually come out, and I thought we were going to get raped in the secondary because I didn't realize Ward was going to play so well after being hurt, and we just totally outplayed them on defense.
And Atlanta was prepared for it. They're expecting, same old Browns. We saw the tape of the Kansas City game. This shouldn't be a problem. You had a problem.
They were half asleep.
Yeah, and Tony the Calf says, if I said my true feelings about Jimmy Butler, you'd have to make me a white hood. And you know something? I don't have to make you anything. Just go to your closet, dude. I mean, that's real simple. Jay Morgan, I honestly think this Browns team is better than the Falcons. Well, you can make an argument that the Falcons were 1-4, and then and now they're 4-5, and the Browns are 3-6. I would say that for the looks of this was not an impossible outcome. Let's put it that way. I would say that they're more experienced than we are, but they surely didn't play a good game. Yeah, it was a Grammatica. Thank you, Phil Dawson. It was a Grammatica, Martin Grammatica.
Oh,
that was the guy who did the backflip. And
it wasn't. It wasn't Zendejas. It was Grammatica.
Automatica.
Martin Grammatica.
Yeah, my God. Perf Notch says, defense came to play. Baker showed franchise ability. Chubb, O-line played great, but we still do not have a return game. We really have nobody better than Peppers. We had a guy who used to line up with him named Onions. We had Peppers and Onions. It was really culinary, but it didn't work either. Defense only gave up 71 yards rushing. This has been a weakness of Atlanta all year. We talked about this in the pregame analysis show on Friday, that, you know, their best running back had only gained I think it was some weird number, like 49 yards on average per game. They just were not getting any kind of rushing game.
Well,
also
19 carries and 52 passes.
Yeah, no balance there whatsoever. Gus Farrat, thank you. Was the guy who headbutted the goalpost. Just to show you how far behind I am on all this. There's so much stuff being talked about here. The refs were pretty even in this game. Yeah, except for that one little period where I thought they were turning on us. I could have sworn a phone call came in, you know, but
we need an impression, because you know what the next game is. The next game to play is the Battle of Ohio. We need Don Criqui.
Well, we'll wait for the bye. I really don't, you know, I don't want to ruin my celebration with reminiscences of Don Criqui. That would be.
Be able to cover Cavs basketball this week because they got like 2 or 3 games this week.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
No one's.
You guys play the Hornets on Tuesday, and in Cleveland.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about it. You notice I'm not. Perf Notch, I also thought the Kitchens called a great game for the most part. Once he got away from the trick plays, I think it was fine. I don't think he was calling the plays at the end. I think Greg Williams was. I think that he just wanted the defense back on the field. Mr. X Steampunk Survival says they actually trusted the kicker to get extra points. And truth. You know, yeah, there were no 2-point conversions for us anyway. When they tried, you saw what happened to them.
Preach.
So I'm just going to move forward. Dorsey is the MVP, and you know that's from the ones. Nice to see you in the chat room. Yeah, I agree. Dorsey brought us those 3 men. You know, you got Mayfield, you got Ward, and you got Chubb. I mean, those are 3 bullseyes, folks. After years of ineptitude, that's 3 bullseyes, and that's why the future of the team is better, because this guy, he did it for the Chiefs, and he's doing it for the Browns. And I think that's great. Wonder what excuse Coward is going to have for why he was wrong about Mayfield. You know, Coward is a guy, it's a good name for him because it could be spelled differently. The way I look at Colin Coward is that it's an easy way to try to get audience, and it's just not going to play out anymore. It's just not going to play out. I mean, the kid is obviously talented. He has a will to win. He's got a tremendous arm and a great future in the NFL. And regardless of what, you know, these guys on TV who are, it's an over-trafficked thing. I mean, one of the beautiful things about my doing a show like this is I don't give a shit about the ratings. That's, again, you know, a man who
plus we don't have to worry about sponsors.
Right. But a man who has a large dick doesn't worry about crowd size. Okay. But at any rate, Colin Coward is, you know, it's an overcrowded, when you look at all of the channels from Fox Sports. I mean, you even have Rich Eisen on the Audition channel on, you know, doing a sports talk show. You've got Jalen Rose and somebody else. You've got,
Jalen and Jacoby.
Jason Whitlock and,
Jim Jackson.
Jim Rome. I mean, it's like, it is such a trafficked thing. I mean, you do whatever you can, and I'll do my impression of what I consider to be 24/7 news and sports, because it's the same thing. It's like, oh my God, guy's an asshole. I think he's an asshole. What do you think, Stephen A? Yeah, I think he's an asshole. He's an asshole. Yeah, there is no discussion of anything. It's like, and it's no different than your news that you get. I mean, it's like, and here's a picture of Donald Trump swallowing the wrong way. Isn't that funny? We're going for effect, for audience.
And then if you click over to a conservative channel, then it's Joe Biden gropes another 12-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes
press conference, and it's like
on and
whatever.
on. What's happening in the world? Tell me what's happening in the world. But you see,
meanwhile, 17 people have burned to death in California, but nobody really cares.
Yeah, it's a ratings thing, and that's what I think of Colin Cowherd. It's just another ratings thing. I don't think that
all they do is to circle jerk each other. It's just one guy's opinion, and the rest of them just agree with him. That's it.
Chip Van Hove is saying that pass interference is bullshit, and I thought the game was going to turn around there. Glad I was wrong. We still need a kicker. I have no faith in the kicker we have now. Well, I mean, he was at least sober today. Luke DeLita says, I believe that Greg Williams was meant to become Browns head coach. My God, you sound like, you sound like one of those end of days people. I believe. Were you ever in Heaven's Gate, Luke? Look it up online if you don't know what it was. You're going to wear your tennis shoes into the afterlife. I mean,
it sounds like the end of the world's about to happen. They're like, well, I guess it was meant for Greg Williams to be the final coach here in Cleveland.
What was the one where they were? What was the one where they were chasing they're trying to sync up with the comet? They thought it was a UFO.
Hale-Bopp?
They all wore black with their tennis shoes, and
the Hale-Bopp
and there were like 40 of them that drank Drano or something and fucking killed themselves.
I love the one guy who was castrated himself. He was another one. Do you remember him? Yeah, I mean, in order to find his perfect place, he castrated himself. And I might even consider doing that, but it would be such a long procedure. It would take such a long time for me.
And Brian, I thought you were referring to
one at a time, boys. One at a time.
Go ahead, Steven.
That was indecipherable. Say again.
I'm sure somebody told him that he didn't have the balls for it, and they said, hold my beer.
Exactly. Chip Van Hove, I like Greg as well, but I really feel he's best at DC, not at head coach. But what do I know? You know enough to know that, Chip. For God's sakes. I mean, no, we don't want that's not our permanent head coach. He's 17-31 for a career. We won one game. Let's just, not get carried away. Think of it this way. You did not marry the first girl you slept with. Okay? Let's not. Well, maybe you did. Maybe you did. And I'm sorry if that's the case. I'm really, really sorry. It could have been better for you. Jay Morgan said Cowherd's boyfriend didn't play this week, and he will just say it was against the overrated Falcons. Probably right. Kevin says, Browns fans don't get hyped for beating us today because we are the worst franchise in NFL history. This doesn't mean the Browns played well. Aw, Kevin.
I believe Cowherd compares Matt Ryan to Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I feel bad for Kevin. Kevin is the Atlanta fan, and don't say that about your team. You're not the worst franchise in the NFL, and it doesn't mean that the Browns played well. Well, compared to where we came from, Kevin, we did play well. You just haven't seen the other games. If you would have seen the other 10 or whatever games, you would have realized, or the other 9 games, that we actually did play pretty well in this game because we didn't turn the ball over, we didn't make ridiculous, bogus mistakes, and we did more than enough to beat your team. You don't say you played well when you beat the worst franchise in history. Well, Kevin, if you think the Falcons are the worst franchise in history, You're just having a down moment. You know.
At least they made it to the Super Bowl. There's 4 teams that haven't yet. So
you know,
one of them.
For Kevin, I really want to
They've been to 2 of them.
I want to look something up. Okay.
The Falcons have been to 2 Super Bowls.
Right. They were the first one was the Dirty Birds.
Yeah, I don't understand where that's coming from. Modafinil is the name of the drug. It's also known as Provigil, Kevin. It's a stimulant that can treat narcolepsy, sleep apnea, and shift work sleep disorder. You know, you can take Provigil, and it will make you feel better. Okay, and you won't be prone to these depressive swings where you say your team is the worst in history. So I'm just.
It could be worse. It could be a Raiders fan.
I prescribe because I love. Okay. All right.
And they pay us.
Luke says Baker will only become Baker will only become greater, Luke DeLita says, and Chubb will continue to break records. Best draft by the Browns by far since 99. What happened in 99? Did I miss something in 99? What happened in 99? The Tim Couch draft?
What?
Are you being funny,
that,
Luke?
2 and 14?
Oh my God.
Mr. Moohead, doesn't Kevin's comment sounds like those self-loathing Ravens fans who made excuses for that overtime loss to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, this guy really is. I mean, this guy could fuck up a wet dream. But listen to this guy. It's not Mayfield played well today. It's our defense that made him look real good today. We are the Falcons. Come on, guys. Wow.
He makes it sound like they're 0-8 or something, you know?
Well, I mean, they were 1-4, and he was, and then, they teased him. Cindy is saying you need to stay online and do play-by-play when we come back from Huey. I don't know what come back from.
She meant bye week. She recorrected and put bye week.
Oh,
bye week.
Okay.
Do a play-by-play, like a live reaction, play-by-play without showing the game. It's like our live reaction. But that's gonna be a 4 or 5 hour show, though, easily.
Yeah, I don't know that you really want me to do that because I get vulgar in a way that is just not good at all. And yeah, Ron Leffman says the goal line stand was impressive. Yeah, it was the only good thing Peppers did all day, but it was something. Kevin, you don't say you played well when you beat the worst. God, he just keeps repeating himself. My God. Matthew McAdams, great job, guys. Good work. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for being in the chat room. Let's see. I love Colin, but he's wrong about Mayfield. Matthew likes Colin Cowherd. I really don't care for Colin Cowherd particularly, especially when he goes for the cheap take like that. Lenny the Cow here, under the radar. Great performances. Randall, Robinson, and Treader. Treader's gutted it out with that bad ankle. I saw him have trouble get to his feet early in the game. Demarius Randall made some good plays, and yes, Robinson blocked. Way to go, Lenny the Cow. Your mantra must have worked this week. I'm impressed. Carter Yoder. Yeah. That's all he says. Yeah. D-Cup toe juice. Greg is the difference. Pull your heads out of your asses. If Ward didn't go out in Chiefs game, they could be 2-0 under Greg. Oh, here we have our first Greg Williams fanboy. Well, wait till you go home and you find him on top of your mother working hard. Okay? You're not going to be a Greg Williams fan for long. Kevin says, y'all know I'm right. Well, if you insist, okay? Your team sucks. I don't know. That's fine by me.
We'll make you happy, okay? We'll just
self-loathing Ravens fans. Remember when the overtime win, those guys made all the excuses in the world. It's the same thing. Oh, well, you didn't beat us. You didn't really beat anybody. Ugh.
And then Kevin says, Sam is still young, and he can still get better. I mean, this is Sam Darnold Kevin's talking about. You have a depressive problem. You really do. I mean, I'll tell you what. You can have Sam Darnold and ship him right now, gift wrapped, to you in Atlanta. You can have him. God, I mean, there's a guy who that would be like self-loathing,
It is self-loathing.
What about Provisic, the drug from the fugitive? Dr. Kimball is not a fan. Thank you, Lenny. Yeah, the guy needs something. Sydney even said, need to send Sam Darnold to Kevin. And Kevin is ready to accept him with open arms. Wow. God damn, best impact. With better coaching, we should have won a minimum of 5 games. And no argument for me. Please, Sam is from USC. Enough said. Do you need a tissue, Kevin?
I saw that.
I saw that coming too. Navarre, the Duke Johnson fumble call was the biggest in the game. Yeah, fortunately, that knee did go down, but boy, it didn't look like that in real time. Landon Roberts is laughing his ass off at Kevin. Kevin is even laughing his ass off at Kevin. Thanks for reading my comments, by the way. Love you, Kevin. I mean, look, we've been through it all before. We're usually the team that ends up losing, so we know all about that. But you never become a self-loathing fan, because Mr. Moohead does not appreciate self-loathing fans, because, hey, you're a fan through thick and thin. You know, we're all here having this record live audience today because we won a football game. It just doesn't happen that often. Ron Shane, what is better, Browns win or Jimmy giving the keys to Dorsey? And the answer is the win, because Jimmy hasn't given the keys to Dorsey. What he said is, you're in charge of finding the new head coach. He didn't say you were going to name the new head coach. He said, you're in charge. There's a big difference when you're dealing with a con man. Jimmy, you have to understand that Jimmy's a fucking liar, all right? He's going to have Dorsey do the work, and then he's going to make the decision. And that's what I'm afraid of. And leave it to Dorsey. I think that would be a smart thing to do. I don't know if Jimmy can do that. Honestly, though, Nick Chubb was just a straight beast. Pretty much won us the game. Yep, there's no question. That's the play of the game. No question. And I don't know. The keys are, it's funny, the keys, that comment, giving the keys to Dorsey, that's what Kyrie was complaining about again this weekend.
The Cavaliers didn't give me the keys to the franchise. They didn't give me the keys.
Kyrie reminds me of Lucille Ball on the Lucy Show.
Oh, Ricky! Ah!
Yeah, except he's in the wrong city.
What a whiny puss. My goodness. And just for you, Cindy.
The fucking Knicks, just to really stick it to him.
Yeah, for Cindy, for your comment, here we go, is Chris Berman. Back. It's like, and a great play by Carry On My Wayward Son. God. I'm so glad that's over with.
The best one was still Nehemiah was a bullfrog. Ronaldo Nehemiah was a bullfrog.
Oh, I remember Ronaldo Nehemiah. Great hurdler anyway. Jay Morgan, 3 great young players on that Browns team, and together they will only get better. That's the real fun, is watching them grow together and gain a little bit of confidence and, having some success. And this really helps Baker Mayfield. He needed this really bad. So what can I say except
and getting higgy with it, had a touchdown catch.
Yeah, I think somebody should question Freddie Kitchens, though, and say, Freddie, are you going to throw the ball back to Baker again? Is that going to happen again? Just let us know now. And if so, we'll go ahead and we'll get Tony's white hood out of his closet. I hope that doesn't happen again. It's like, why don't we try just throwing the ball to an actual receiver? That would be wonderful. Here's Kevin. He's back. Well, I'm going to read Kevin's comments like Casey Kasem, okay?
Long distance dedication.
Yeah, here we go. I'm not here trying to downplay anything. Browns won. Congratulations are due. Apologize if that's what you think I was doing. What I'm really trying to tell you is I don't try to get too hyped, because you only beat the worst team in the NFL. Just keep grinding and win games. And I hope you guys can beat a real good team down the road.
Just like those Ravens.
And now the Bladders.
And now friendly with I'm sorry.
No, it's like, and now Katie Lang with crying. There you go, Kevin. I love it.
I'm wondering if the Browns win a couple more games this year. I'm wondering if those fans are going to self-loathe the same way and say, well, you beat the worst team in the NFL this year.
Oh, no. I mean, look, I mean, this is a big step up. And I'll tell you why it's really a big step up is because the Browns played a clean game and because the quarterback had a 151 rating and did not do anything to jeopardize. He controlled the ball and he made the throws he needed to make. He scored touchdowns, not just put us in field position for field goals, got the ball into the end zone. And I think that's really a big thing, knowing that we can get the ball into the end zone and score the 7. And we got our first touchdown of the year in the first quarter that got us off to a good start. And I think all those things are good. And yeah, that was a great pass to Higgins for the touchdown. That was really thrown up there, found one-on-one coverage, let your receiver go up and get it. That's classic stuff. That's what you call chemistry between quarterback and receiver. So that's great. So, all right, I'm going to give each of guys on the forum here or on the panel your final word. Then we'll get out of here so I can try to do some stretching with my legs in the water.
Okay. I guess I'll go first because I wanted to announce the winners of the prediction scores.
Okay, sure.
Okay, there's really three winners. I graded it two separate ways. One way was who the scores came the closest.
Yep.
Then the other one is who picked the winner. And seeing as Cindy's the only one that picked the Browns, I want to give her a personal shout out. Say congratulations out of 10 panelists. Well, 6 being on here and then 4 being typers. You were the only one that predicted a Browns victory. So congratulations. Now in terms of scores, there's 2 people that came the closest. The first one is going to be a shout out to Rick for a 27-20, close to a 28-16. And then the other one is 420 Amsterdam, 24-17, and the score ended 28-16.
Yeah, but I mean, Cindy has to get it because she's the only one who picked the Browns to win. It doesn't matter how close a wrong prediction is a wrong prediction. So Cindy wins big. All right, so Cindy wins. Yeah, and the only person I give maybe even close is Kevin in the chat room before he cuts his wrists. All right, Rick, what's your final line on this?
Well, it was a good victory by the Browns. Watching the other scoreboard there, see Cincinnati was getting waxed by New Orleans. That was always enjoyable. So we'll go into the bye week, stay positive, and see how we do in the second half. And the date being what it is, thanks to all the servicemen and women out there for all they do.
And I'm going to jump in because missing Phil Dawson said highest passer ratings in Browns history, minimum 20 attempts. Today's performance by Baker Mayfield, number 1. Number 2, Brian Sipe, 1978 versus the Colts. Otto Graham versus the Cards, and Bernie Kosar in 1988. So that'll tell you something. Good. Brian, you're next.
Well, we got a huge game out of the out of our running attack, and finally, Baker Mayfield is looking like the Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma.
Yeah. Now, Karen Taylor,
85% completion with no picks and no sacks.
What was his pass attempts and his completion on that? Do y'all know? I meant to ask that earlier.
He was 17 of 20, I think.
He did throw in abundance of passes. He was extremely economical. Yeah. Karen Taylor, I wanted to quote her. She goes, "Yes, Kevin, we know we beat a low-ranking team, but we're just happy to win a game and in a fashion where we played a good, clean game. Why don't you just go away, you complete crotch sniffer?" No, she didn't say that. That was me. I kind of an editor's note. Okay.
Suddenly it took a dark turn.
It happens.
Mr. Mued, I have one question for you. What was Jim Brown's longest run?
80. They said it on TV, 80 yards in 1959. The second longest was Bobby Mitchell. He had one for 90.
No, you see, it's interesting. The longest run for Jim Brown from Cleveland was when he went from Cleveland to Los Angeles to make movies. That was
it is longer than 80 yards. I'm sorry.
But on the 80 yards, did he score a touchdown on that drive? Did he score a touchdown on that play?
You gonna tell him he did?
More than likely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah. Again, Karen is laughing. No, she says, I didn't say that. That was Mr. Muhed. Yeah. All right. And my final thing is, I said it before, let Baker be Baker. Let him cut the ball loose, let him go back, step into his throws. If you can give him some decent protection, the first completion that he made to Callaway over the middle was thrown before the break. That's what we want. A good understanding of where the receivers are on the field, to be in simpatico with your wide receivers and just turn it loose. And he got off to a great start, and then the running game and his offensive line helped him too. So, I think we're all happy, Karen, that we didn't watch another frustrating game. Everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in to this post-game show. But, there's always another Moohead show right around the corner, and that's tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We take a little bit more in-depth look. This is the more emotional response, where we actually win a game and we have to stick our head in a paper bag so we don't hyperventilate, kind of thing. But we'll have more time for it to sink in, and we'll have more of the national takes on this, and we'll be talking about all of the aftermaths of this game. So join us tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube or at mooheadradio.com. Guys, thanks for joining me. And we'll see you again, hopefully, tomorrow. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
Good night, guys.